Growth through lifespan development, what helping my daughter and improving my own health taught me about human growth. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Nabb, and today I want to share what I learned through two developmental psychology projects that completely changed the way that I think about growth, motivation, and human behavior. One project focuses on my own development as a middle aged adult, trying to establish healthier exercise habits. The other focused on helping my teenage daughter become more motivated and socially engaged during her adolescent years. At first, these seemed like two completely different challenges. One was about changing myself, while the other was about supporting my daughter, someone else. But as I worked through both projects, I realized that they were connected by one important idea: human development never stops. Whether we're teenagers trying to figure out who we are or adults trying to take better care of ourselves, we're all continuing to grow throughout our lives. Today, I want to share the developmental theories that help me better understand these challenges and the practical strategies that made a real difference. So, why does this matter? Well, have you ever felt too exhausted to work on a goal that you knew was important? Or have you ever looked at someone's behavior and misunderstood what was really going on? Or what if the person who needs more patience with something isn't your child, but yourself? So, when many people hear the word development, they immediately think about babies or young children. And before taking this course, I probably would have thought the same thing. But one of the biggest lessons I learned is that development doesn't end in childhood. According to lifespan development theory, people continue growing physically, cognitively, emotionally, and socially from birth until late adulthood. That means the challenges we face at different stages of life aren't random. They're actually influenced by predictable developmental processes. For example, teenagers naturally begin exploring their identity, becoming more independent from their parents, while adults often struggle to balance careers, family responsibilities, and personal well being. So, my self development project is focused on increasing my physical activity by increasing consistent exercise. So, as a first grade teacher and a mother of two children, my schedule is very busy. By the time I get home each day, I'm just mentally, physically exhausted. Even though I know exercise is important, I would continue putting it off. So I realized that simply knowing something is good for us doesn't always lead to the behavior change. My other development project focused on my 16-year-old daughter. Over the past couple of years, she's become much less motivated to leave her room. She enjoys time spending. She enjoys time playing video games. She scrolls on her phone, sleeps in late whenever she doesn't have school or other commitments. And, as a mother, I found this very frustrating because I know that she enjoys spending time with family and with friends once she actually got out of the house. So initially, I viewed these behaviors as laziness or lack of motivation, but developmental psychology has helped me completely rethink that perspective. So, my project for her focused on helping her to become more motivated and socially engaged. So, the first theory that guided my self development project was self determination theory, developed by Deci and Ryan. This theory says that people are most motivated when three psychological needs are met. First is autonomy, meaning that we feel like we're choosing the behavior instead of being forced into it. The second is competence, which is believing we're capable of succeeding. And the third is relatedness, which means feeling connected to other people. So when I looked at my own exercise habits through this lens, I realized I wasn't enjoying exercise because I viewed it as another obligation after an already exhausting day. So instead of forcing myself into workouts I disliked, I chose activities that I genuinely enjoyed, like walking outside, walking my dog, listening to music, and then short workout videos at home, things that didn't really require me to leave the house and go to the gym. The second theory is Bandura's social cognitive theory. So, this theory emphasizes the importance of self efficiency and which is our belief that we can successfully accomplish a task. So every time I met a small weekly goal, my confidence increased, and that confidence made it easier continue exercising throughout the week. Instead of chasing perfection, I focused on building confidence through small successes. So, a little bit more about my exercise journey. So, before I may have exercised maybe 1 or 2 days a week. This may have been, just a light walk, very little energy to do anything and with a very busy schedule. Um, and then after this project, I increased to 3 to 4 days of exercise a week. I have more awareness and better habits. Some of the things that I did was walking my dog, listening to music while walking, using my Apple Watch to track my steps. And these small goals help to build confidence, and that confidence built consistency. The biggest lesson um, that the biggest lesson wasn't that I reached my goal perfectly. It was realizing that sustainable behavior change comes from consistency rather than intensity. And then some of the challenges with my daughter were, her low motivation, preferred isolation, heavy phone use. So my daughter is, a bit of an introvert. So she has a lot of introverted tendencies where she, would prefer to kind of be alone, stay in her room, that sort of thing. So the the theory that completely transformed my thinking about my daughter was Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. Erikson believed that people move through 8 developmental stages across the lifespan. Each stage involves a developmental crisis that must be resolved. So for adolescents, this crisis is called identity versus role confusion. So during this stage, teenagers begin to ask questions like, who am I? What do I believe? Where do I belong? What kind of adult do I want to become? If adolescents successfully navigate this stage, they develop a strong sense of identity and confidence. If they struggle, they may experience uncertainty, withdrawal, lower motivation, and confusion about the future. So when I learned this theory, I stopped seeing my daughter's behavior as laziness. Instead, I realized that she was navigating one of the most important developmental stages of her life and that she needed support more than she needed control. And a lot of this has to do with understanding the adolescent brain. So before taking this course, I knew, of course, that teenagers' brains were still developing, but I didn't quite understand exactly how teen brains work differently. So the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until the mid 20s. So in our textbook, we also learned that the emotional and reward centers of the brain develop much earlier than the prefrontal cortex. So the prefrontal cortex is responsible for planning, impulse control, decision making, and long term thinking. So, because this area develops more slowly, teenagers naturally seek activities that provide immediate rewards. I think that's one reason why video games, playing on phone, and social media are so appealing to my teenage daughter. So, understanding this helped me become much more patient with her. Instead of constantly telling her what to do or what she should be doing, or like griping at her to get out of her room, I focused on making positive experiences rewarding. So, putting theory into practice, some strategies that really worked well for us are watching some of her favorite TV show with her, taking trips to go get coffee, like to Dunkin' or to Seven Brew, um, taking breaks as a family from technology, so it's not just her; it's the whole family. We went on a vacation. We went on a cruise where she had to disconnect from her phone for the week because I did not pay for Wi-Fi on the cruise. So instead of nagging, I created other opportunities for her. I asked her to go run errands with me, and if she did, I would go get coffee if she came with me. So that got her out of the house. I started watching her favorite TV show with her, and just having that shared interest with her was very appealing. So my goal wasn't really to change her personality. She's an introverted person. It was I just wanted to create opportunities for healthy identity development while also strengthening our relationship. So coffee became a positive reinforcement for her. And limiting electronics became family wide instead of a punishment for her being on her phone too much. The entire family, including myself, had to take these breaks from our phones. And these strategies supported autonomy instead of just being controlling. And this relates back to Erikson as well. Okay, another theory that helped me connect both projects was Brofenbrenner's ecological systems theory. And he argued that development doesn't happen in isolation. Instead, it's influenced by multiple environmental systems. The microsystem includes our immediate relationships like family, school, and close friends. The mesosystem describes how those relationships interact, and the exosystem includes outside influences like parents, jobs, or community resources. And then the macrosystem reflects cultural values and expectations. So, in my own life, balancing work, teaching, being a parent, personal health, all of that influenced my exercise habits. And for my daughter, family relationships, friendships, technology, and school all affected her motivation. And so this theory reminded me that changing behavior often requires changing the environment. So small wins matter. So the results ended in more family interaction, more spending more time with my daughter, spending more time with her friends, better communication between the two of us, and also increased motivation for both of us. For her getting out of her room, and for me going out and actually, working out or doing exercises. My daughter got up earlier in the mornings, went out with her friends more. Um, and then these small improvements became more meaningful. She didn't suddenly become outgoing. The goal wasn't to change her. I know that she is who she is. But all of these things were small wins, and our relationship improved. So, the biggest lesson here is people rarely change because they're criticized. They change because they feel understood. And this is something that really um, became a powerful quote for me from both projects. I feel like it applied to me, it also applied to my daughter. And really, just the biggest lesson is support works better than pressure. Um, Development never stops, and growth is not linear. Progress is messy. We have good days, you have bad days. There were days when I did not exercise, and there were days where my daughter also slept until 1 o'clock in the afternoon and never came out of her room. But patience matters, and understanding behavior changes everything. So, what developmental psychology taught me, Erikson focuses on identity shaping behavior, self determination theory. People need autonomy. Social cognitive theory. Confidence grows through success. And Bronfenbrenner, environment. Your environment matters. Your environment really affects some of those behaviors. So, some practical advice that I have for any parents, teachers, or adults or teenagers who are experiencing some of these same challenges. If you're trying to support someone else, I encourage you to listen to them first, meet them where they are, celebrate small wins, and encourage them instead of pressuring them to make the changes. And if you're changing yourself or changing something about yourself, start small. Give yourself small goals, track your progress, choose enjoyable habits, things you enjoy so that you will actually want to do it. And remember that progress beats perfection. Perfection is not the goal. The goal is growth. So, some final takeaways: growth doesn't happen overnight. If you're a parent, remember your teenager isn't trying to make your life difficult on purpose. They're just trying to figure out who they are. And if you're an adult struggling to change a habit, remember that motivation isn't something you wait for. It's something you build. It's not something that's going to come to you. You have to find it. Small victories create confidence, and confidence creates lasting change. So, whether you're a parent, teenager, or just simply trying to become a healthier version of yourself, remember growth takes patience. Support matters, and every small step forward counts. And I leave you with this quote: development isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming a little better each day. So these two projects reminded me that developmental psychology isn't just something we study in textbooks, it's something we actually live every single day. So whether you're trying to improve your own habits or support someone else that you love, understanding human development can help you replace frustration with empathy and judgment with patience. So most importantly, I've learned that growth doesn't happen through criticism or perfection. Growth happens through understanding, encouragement, and taking one small step at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that something from my journey and my daughter's journey encourages you to think about your own development journey or the journey of someone else that you care about. So, as you leave today, I want to challenge you to think about one area in your life where you could apply some of these ideas. Maybe it's building a healthier habit, supporting your child, or simply giving yourself more grace. Whatever it is, remember that development is a lifelong process and every step forward matters.